Welcome back to the broadcast. This is Newsline here on KTN News. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's get into that issue that Kenyans have been talking about angrily so on social media for the last couple of days. Now, the inability of Parliament's watchdog and departmental committees to oversight the executive can explain the current debt crisis facing the country. After heavy borrowing of loans at commercial interest rates and faced with a repayment crisis, the National Treasury in 2019 twisted Parliament to approve raising the public debt ceiling to 9 trillion shillings to allow for extra borrowing to pay off maturing loans. KTN senior political reporter Patrick Amimo interrogates.
As early as 2016, the World Bank warned Kenya over rising appetite for Chinese loans. By June 2019, the public debt had shot to Kenya shillings 5.7 trillion. Come October 2019, the World Bank released a report warning that Kenya was drifting towards debt distress owing to the government's huge appetite for expensive loans. Interestingly, on the same day, 9th October 2019, the National Assembly approved the National Treasury's push to raise the borrowing ceiling from about 50% of GDP to 9 trillion shillings.
It was preferred that we provide a numerical limit to the total public debt to 9 trillion shillings in place of the current 50% of the GDP in net value terms.
National debt sustainability threshold indicate that the national debt level remains sustainable.
What we are saying is that the government has a debt ceiling of 9 trillion. But this financial year, the amount we have allowed the government to borrow is only 635 billion.
We are not giving the government or the executive a blank check to go and borrow 9 trillion shillings. Honorable Speaker, it has been said, and I think the leader of minority said it, that every year the government comes to this house to ask this house to approve how much we shall borrow that particular year.
The Jubilee administration preferred syndicated loans through Eurobonds that were charged at commercial rates as opposed to concessional loans that have cheap interest rates and long repayment periods. The monies were to fund government infrastructure projects, some of which were marred in corruption and raised audit queries, while Parliament participated in the sin of omission and commission.
I know that we have issues with increasing public debt, but we also must understand that as a country, we have also set up very serious infrastructural development. Much as I know it is a burden even to the citizens, it is important that we stand up to be counted. It is important that now we bite the bullet and make this decision.
I am told, Mr. Speaker, some of the borrowings that we are going to make under this new ceiling is going to retire expensive loans that we borrowed. That's what the Treasury CS told Parliament in the committee, Mr. Speaker. And some of those monies were borrowed for special purpose vehicles, Mr. Speaker, to loot.
On 5th November 2019, the Senate also had opportunity to debate the special motion and approved the revised debt ceiling.
I am a lawyer. I am not a finance expert. The best finance experts in the country have advised that the best way to solve this problem is to increase the debt ceiling. Mr. Speaker, open an opportunity for that borrowing, restructure the debt and bring it down.
I want to correct Senator Murkomen. We sat in the public hearing on your behalf. We asked the question, where is the evidence of debt restructuring? There's nothing.
For every 100 shillings that Kenyans are being taxed, 50 shillings, half of that amount, is going to service debt, Mr. Speaker.
We want to open the debt ceiling to 9 trillion. It means, Mr. Speaker, our GDP and debt weight are going to be equal. Which country does that, Mr. Speaker?
If it does not get this gap in the ceiling, the next thing which will happen, Mr. Speaker, I can assure you, will be an economic meltdown. And continue we have are extremely expensive. They're commercial loans. It is prudent that we retire the expensive commercial loans and get cheaper, sustainable loans. That is a fact.
Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
We throw it out and continue.
Thank you, Patrick. Let's get into it. I'm joined in studio tonight by